So you're Russell Moore, right?
I am.
And you have a book coming out this spring called In Clear Water?
I sure do. That we're very excited. I have a co-author by the name of Dwayne Parsons that's very involved in the book also. We've designed this book in regards to a lot of the stories from guided trips, but also what I call the evolution of a fly fisherman. We all start out catching our small fish on our first trip out to the rivers and actually want to expand and get into a number of larger fish and then even further and then advance into a guide position, you know, at a fly shop. So it is an evolution. It's something that I take pride in teaching people how to go from the smallest fish that they've ever caught to the largest and see how many that I can catch. But as you can see with the selection that you have here, this is a very effective way to, you know, get someone to be able to catch larger fish and be more productive with their fly fishing equipment. Megan, today I'd like to show you a demonstration of a deep water nymphing rig that's very effective for both steelhead and trout. Have you done any steelheading or trout fishing yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Have you found that it's a little bit challenging to get a lot of lead and a strike indicator and two flies at a distance and get down real deep?
Yeah.
Okay. This will be a system that's going to be very easy to set up. It's very simple, but it does take a little bit of general ideas on understanding that as things travel at different speeds, you're going to have problems at certain depths and things like that. So technically, this is designed around a two fly rig system. It has a piece of lead above your second fly, and we actually take a sliding indicator with a bead next to it that allows us to change depth, and it allows it to give you a better turnover for your long distance casts. A lot of people challenge to be able to catch steelhead at a lower, deeper level, and the way to get down there is obviously a lot of weight.
What pound test are you using?
Well, on this particular situation, for steelhead especially, I like to use about 20-pound test up to a point. What that allows that to do is turn over when you make your cast. It'll also give you good strength and support up to the point where you may put a swivel or you have maybe a lead stop that your indicator will slide down to. So it's a very good question. A lot of people try to use light trout equipment to do the same type of system, and it is a tangle nightmare. So what we really try to do is get as heavy a line up to a point, and then you either tie knots or put a swivel or some kind of a D-ring, and that allows you to taper down to the smaller diameter tippets that you may use for your fly casting or fly fishing scenario. So with this system, you can't get too much weight. I tell you, it's nice to have a ton of weight, even your jigs that you may use. Sliding strike indicator will actually generate a way to give you a depth of 15, 20, 30 feet if that's what you choose to fish at.
You don't find that difficult to cast with the length of it?
Well, good question, and if anything, the length is good, but your dimension is even better, that you could actually cut through the wind with an indicator that's designed like this. This one here being round, it's very flotatious. That this is a great indicator, but it does cut into the wind, and you do have some problems on occasion if it is windy. But this one is aerodynamically designed, and it's very easy to go ahead and cast. But anyway, as far as the equipment, you've got a terrific supply of both jigs and flies throughout the store. I'd like to move around a little bit later and look at some of the other products that you have here in the store. But overall, you've got the ideal items it would take for steelhead and trout.
So Russell, tell me a little bit more about your book, In Clear Water.
I also include a lot of things in regards to the style of nymphing that I utilize, which is deep water nymphing. It's a big basis of the book, and it's also a way that I catch not only trout but steelhead. So I'd like to show you a few of the flies in general that would actually be very effective. This one here in particular is Hodgman's Yuba pupa actually, but if anything, I like a lot of larger style nymphs that would be a dropper fly, and then I'll put a smaller one behind it, whether I'm using steelhead equipment or maybe something on a trout arena. So I do like it to turn over, and as our previous demonstration displayed, to be able to turn over the equipment that you'll need one larger fly in front of a smaller one. So that's very effective. Some of my favorite for trout are more in the pheasant tail area here. Just real small green or olive colored flies that are very effective in trout. I've used these for steelhead, but most often it's too small for the clarity of the water. So really, In Clear Water is a book about fishing deep water, and also some stories in regards to what has happened along the way.
So Russell, what would you use to target a larger fish?
Well, it's a great question. I've got a lot of specific flies that I use. You happen to have a number of them right here in the bin here at Big R at Pondere, Idaho. One of my most favorite flies that I find most effective for large fish are the yellow dudgeon. It's an articulating fly. It's very effective. It's very buggy looking, and I think it imitates a number of items that are out there, though the color is quite unique, but I think that's how the fish see it. Your bigger flies will actually attract bigger fish because the small fish can't get a hold of it. So it's really one of my favorites, and I'd have to say that between that and the gray are some of my favorite colors overall throughout catching larger fish. So I'd also like to say that a lot of times your brown trout are more carnivorous, so they'll be more aggressive towards a brown coloration than anything else. So these would be a very effective fly. It allows you to at least describe to your customer base here that as they go out and travel the rivers, that brown is really a good color in general for both species of rainbows and also brown. So it's a very effective fly, and I'd say that that's one of my favorites in addition to the other two that you have there for catching larger fish.
Okay.